IGSDA online.
También es miembro del Consejo Asesor del
He is
Programa de
also
Maestría de Estudios de
a
Seguridad y
senior
Análisis de la
member of the
Información.
Advisory Council of the Master's Program in Security Studies and Information Analysis at the American University in the Emirates, AUE, and is the author of the book, Fingers Are on the Trigger, which is published in Arab language and is being translated into English and Chinese languages.
El general Said es conferencista invitado habitual de diferentes centros de estudio como la Universidad de Tokio, la Real Academia Militar de Bélgica en Bruselas,
General and PhD Ghoneim is a regular guest speaker at different centers of study, such as the University of Tokyo, Royal Military Academy in Belgium, in Brussels, NATO Defense School, Honduras Defense University, and the United States Central Command, Tampa, Florida, among others.
la Escuela de Defensa de la OTAN, la Universidad de Defensa de Honduras y el Comando Central de los Estados Unidos.
On this occasion, General Sayed will delight us with the conference, Current Situation in Afghanistan. At the end of the conference, there will be a round of questions and answers. For this, I ask you to write your full name and your question, and we will read them at the end. Without further ado, General Sayed, the baton is yours.
En esta ocasión, el general Sayed nos deleitará con la conferencia Situación Actual en Afganistán. Al finalizar la conferencia, habrá una ronda de preguntas y respuestas. Para ellos, les pedimos que escriban su nombre completo y su pregunta, que la leeremos al final. Sin más preámbulos, el general Sayed, el auditorio es suyo.
Hello. General Sayed, we just made a brief introduction for the guests. And if you have anything else you'd like to add to the introduction, or we can begin with the conference.
Yes, hello, I can share my screen now.
Yes, you may share it.
Okay, but I think you disabled that. I cannot share my screen. You have to enable me, please.
Okay, we're on it right now. I think it's ready now, so you can share.
Okay. Yeah.
Bueno.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thank you for introducing me. And this is, I think, fourth time to be together.
Buenos días a todos, gracias por la introducción.
First time I was in Honduras in 2019. It was the same day, I think, or like yesterday, 2 years ago. And I was talking about rivalry or competition in Latin America.
General Sayed, hello?
Yes, I say that first time it was 2 years ago, same day like today. And I was talking about competition between superpowers in Latin America.
Sobre la competición de los grandes poderes del mundo en la última conferencia que hice en Honduras, y es un placer estar aquí nuevamente.
This time I will talk about Afghanistan in the Middle East and how it,
hablaré sobre Afganistán en el Medio Oriente
and how it affects the stability in the region and its connection to main actors, including India and China, even USA also.
Okay.
So I'm saying that I will talk about second state of Taliban 2021 and its connection with China and other countries.
2021.
Do you mind if when I stop, you start translating? I will try to cut it one by one. Okay, just to make it easy for you and for the audience.
Yes.
Okay, so before I start this one, let me tell you a little background about what is the relation between Afghanistan, United States, about the region, what is the relation with China, India, and Pakistan. And even I will give you my background, my experience.
Antes de comenzar, me gustaría darles una introducción breve a lo que es Afganistán y de mi punto de vista las relaciones que esta puede tener con todo el mundo y cómo está siendo afectado el mundo por lo sucedido en Afganistán.
Okay, in 2011, in September, 11th of September, in 2001, I'm sorry, in 2001, 11th of September, everybody knows about this attack, terrorist attack by Al-Qaeda terrorist group. They hit World Trade Center and other buildings in New York, in the United States of America.
Como todos están al tanto de lo sucedido del ataque del 11 de septiembre a Estados Unidos, el grupo terrorista que derrubó las Torres Gemelas en Estados Unidos y que estuvo haciendo otro tipo de actos terroristas también en Estados Unidos.
In that time, I was Lieutenant Colonel, I remember very well, and I was participating in a big maneuver representing my country, and several countries attended, and it was headed, or let me say managed by United States of America, and it was in Egypt in 2001 in October, 1 month after attacking World Trade Center.
Estuve haciendo durante estos ataques terroristas que fueron realizados, estuve realizando maniobras. Could you repeat where you were?
It was in Egypt, in Alexandria.
Egipto. Estuve en Egipto durante este tiempo realizando diferentes maniobras. Después de
and it was in 2001 in October, as I told you.
2001 en octubre.
1 month after the terrorist attack.
Un mes después de los actos terroristas.
And third Army, Field Army number 3 of United States was participating through U.S. Central Command in this big Bright Star maneuver in Egypt.
La Fuerza 3 estuvo actuando en Egipto estas maniobras de grandes escalas después de estos ataques terroristas de los cuales yo formé parte.
And the boss or the head of the mission, the American mission, he was Lieutenant General Mike Check. He was Lieutenant General Mike Check, and he is the same man who commanded the American forces in Afghanistan in 2001, just 2 months.
El general Check fue el encabezado de estas operaciones militares en Egipto, en las cuales yo también estuve trabajando durante este tiempo.
I remember at that time I was working, representing, my country in intelligence cell, which is midterm intelligence inside the Third Army of United States.
Can you repeat that, General Hayat, please? I couldn't really listen.
Yeah. At that time, I was working as information planning officer, intelligence planning officer with the American forces in this maneuver, in the exercise. Yeah. And the Americans were preparing to go and to fight terrorism in Afghanistan.
Estaban preparándose para ir a pelear a los terroristas.
As a reaction to 9/11 attack with terrorist attack against World Trade Center and other buildings in New York just 2 months earlier.
Y en base a los ataques en las torres que sucedieron en Estados Unidos durante este tiempo. 2 meses después estaban preparando estrategias para responder a estos ataques.
But the main goal of the U.S. Armed Forces is to support the American initiative, which is, if you heard about it, and I hope you can read about it, it's so-called Greater Middle East. Greater Middle East is including all countries in Middle East coming from Afghanistan, in Central Asia, in the East, going to the West again till Mauritania. And USA, yeah, you can translate, please.
Esto se considera una de las grandes calamidades, dado que Estados Unidos comenzó esta guerra en base a lo sucedido en Estados Unidos con el ataque terrorista de estos grupos. Esto fue una contestación a estos mismos ataques.
One of the main goal of this American initiative, Greater Middle East or GME
Uno
initiative,
de los objetivos principales de Estados Unidos
is to fight terrorism and ignorance in the Middle East. Terrorism and ignorance.
es combatir los terroristas y feudalistas en estos territorios.
Exactly. Why? Because
Porque
according to the expectation of United States that terrorism, because of poverty and ignorance, will increase in the Middle East.
Estados Unidos
That was the main reason for this initiative.
de la pobreza, de la mala educación que tienen estos mismos terroristas.
And as most of you know, that there are 4 doctrines in international relations, in foreign policies.
Y como
One of them is
saben,
liberal
cuatro
intervention.
doctrinas en relaciones internacionales.
Liberal intervention is to use the force
Libre intervención.
to intervene inside other countries.
Ujú.
And then the United States decided to use its force to intervene in Afghanistan
Y luego
to
Estados
fight
Unidos
terrorism.
usó esta fuerza para intervenir en Afganistán.
The president of the United States at that time was George Bush, and he was supported also by Tony Blair as Prime Minister of United Kingdom.
El presidente durante este tiempo era el presidente Bush, que decidió ejercer esta fuerza en Afganistán.
To finish the background, I want to tell you about Afghanistan, that problems in Afghanistan started in 1979, during the
1989.
1979.
No escucho. Bueno,
After the collapse of Afghani kingdom, Afghani Shah, I'm sorry, of Iran kingdom, after the collapse. So what happened in Afghanistan that time?
bueno, una breve introducción también sobre Afganistán es que esto comenzó en el año 1981 después del colapso de
That Soviet Union was intervening inside Afghanistan, and USA decided to fight Soviet Union.
después de la caída de la Unión Soviética.
And it was through proxy war. So Americans depended on Taliban that time, they were friends, against the Afghani who are supported or pro-Russian.
Los talibanes empezaron también a utilizar la fuerza.
And that time, 1979 and several years after, the Taliban succeeded to defeat
Esos años
the
los
forces
talibanes,
supported by Soviet Union.
can you repeat that again, the last part, please?
Yeah, that the forces supported by US, which is Taliban, succeeded to defeat the forces supported by Soviet Union.
Los talibanes pudieron ejercer la fuerza y tuvieron victoria contra la Unión Soviética durante el tiempo de su creación.
And Taliban in that time started to rule Afghanistan.
Y los talibanes empezaron a ejercer su poder en Afganistán.
But a terrorist organization of Al-Qaeda was generated from Taliban, headed or was directed by Osama bin Laden against all the West, including United States of America.
Can you repeat that again? Sorry, the connection is not very good.
Yeah, Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda organization, terrorist organization, was generated from Taliban at that time.
Las organizaciones terroristas.
And they started to fight the West. So Taliban was supported by the West, but Al-Qaeda from Taliban started to fight the West.
Empezaron a tener conflictos en el oeste y reaccionar.
This is something like a long background, but just to let everybody understand how it was before.
Solo quiere que todos entiendan cómo todo esto era antes de la creación de los terroristas.
Since 2001, as I told you, end of 2001, early 2002, American forces started to intervene in Afghanistan, and they started to support a new government and to fight
Empezaron
Al-Qaeda, and to fight Al-Qaeda and Taliban.
los territorios y crear conflictos, dado a que no estaban de acuerdo con el tipo de gobierno que estaba en esos lugares.
And during 20 years, since 2001 until 2021, USA was supporting beside NATO and some NATO forces, supporting the government of Afghanistan to build a new country and also to fight Taliban and Al-Qaeda inside Afghanistan.
Ha enviado fuerzas para combatir en estos territorios, también diplomáticos, para tratar de negociar maneras de resolver el conflicto. Todo esto a lo largo de 20 años.
First time,
La primera
United States of America decided to withdraw from Afghanistan, and it was declared, it was by Obama, President Obama in 2014.
Can you repeat the last part, please?
The first time declared that USA will withdraw from Afghanistan, it was by President Obama in 2014.
La primera vez que los Estados Unidos decidió retirarse de Afganistán fue durante la presidencia del presidente Obama en el año 2014.
In 2015, 1 year after, it was United States National Security Strategy signed by Obama. It was his second national security strategy. He mentioned in it that he will concentrate more on Asia to confront maybe China, but to release or withdraw its concentration, America's concentration from the Middle East.
Okay. Obama en el año 2015 decidió aliarse con diferentes países, incluido lo que es China, para poder ayudar a retirar las fuerzas armadas de lo que eran estos territorios en Afganistán.
Yes. Why? This is something like continuation of the American strategy to decrease the existence of USA in the Middle East because it's source of problem, and increase the intervention of USA in South China Sea, in Asia, in Central Asia, because America believes that 50% of external economic growth will come from Asia.
Estados Unidos crea estas alianzas y busca estas ayudas, dado que Estados Unidos piensa que el 50% del poder económico estará con China y otros países en el Medio Oriente en los siguientes años. Entonces busca crear estas alianzas primordialmente por esta razón.
So first time declared 2014 by Obama, second time declared withdrawal from Afghanistan by USA, it was in 2015 in National Security Strategy, but it's not declared, it was something like you can understand. And during Trump era in 2018, Trump declared again that he will withdraw from Afghanistan, but he didn't discuss anything with his allies in NATO. That's why European countries were very angry with Donald Trump in 2018 when he declared without informing the European countries in NATO that he will withdraw from Afghanistan.
Okay. En 2014, como les había mencionado anteriormente, el presidente Obama quería retirar estas fuerzas de Afganistán. También continuó con eso hasta el 2015. Pero ya en la presidencia del presidente Trump, él no habló nada con lo que era la organización NATO para poder retirar lo que eran estas fuerzas de Afganistán. Entonces, de alguna manera, no se cumplió con lo hablado anteriormente y eso enfureció mucho a todo el país y al gobierno estadounidense por no cumplir esas palabras. Yes.
And in 2021, exactly in August, let me say no, early, even in May, So it was the last declaration of withdrawal from Afghanistan in coordination with Taliban by United States of America and NATO as well.
Can you repeat that again, please? The last part.
Yeah. Last time declared withdrawal from Afghanistan, it was this year, and it was, I think, in March, to withdraw in May and to finish in August.
La última vez que se habló de retirar a las fuerzas militares de Afganistán fue este año en mayo o junio, si no mal recuerdo. Okay.
And yes, this is what happened exactly. So it was coordinated and it was not suddenly, it was not surprise, as I told you. It has been announced several times.
Pero
This
no
type
fue
of withdrawal.
una sorpresa de que retiraran a estas fuerzas militares de estas áreas, dado que, como les había mencionado anteriormente, ya lo han anunciado más de una vez de que retirarán estas fuerzas de estas áreas específicas.
But now we have a question. Why USA withdraw from Afghanistan?
Pero ahora tenemos una pregunta. ¿Por qué Estados Unidos se retira de Afganistán?
Number one, I think, this is my opinion, because they want to stop money expend, on war in Afghanistan. And they would like to change their strategy and policies from liberal intervention to realism.
Ya no quieren, por primer punto, porque ya no quieren gastar dinero, la economía, no quieren gastar dinero en esta guerra. Can you repeat the last part?
And to change the American policy from liberal or doctrine, from liberal intervention, which is intervene with force, to realism, which to meet the problem another way, in realistic way.
Las políticas de Estados Unidos a algo más realista.
Second reason, I think,
La segunda razón que yo pienso, yes.
China, Russia, and Turkey, even India and Pakistan, they are involved in this issue. So maybe United States wanted to withdraw to leave this theater to the main competitors, China and Russia, and then maybe they will be in big trouble. Why? Russia don't have enough money to maintain its existence in Afghanistan, and China does not have this type of experience of dealing with this type of violence and instability of security. So maybe USA believe it will be big problem to China and Russia, and maybe they will start to, disregard each other, not to disagree with each other. Maybe something like making some problems between both China and Russia inside Afghanistan when they confront big problems.
Desde mi punto de vista, es que este conflicto en Afganistán también podría crear problemas a los Estados Unidos con los otros países alrededor de estos territorios, digamos como ser China, Turquía y los demás que he mencionado. Entonces, para también no crear más conflictos con estas otras naciones, Estados Unidos ha decidido retirarse del territorio de Afganistán, desde mi punto de vista.
Third reason, I think,
La tercera razón, pienso,
this is because USA believed that the governmental forces are capable to confront Taliban and capable to rule the country. And I think they were cheated.
y
I
la
think so.
última razón es que Estados Unidos piensa que Afganistán puede trabajar por su cuenta y combatir esas guerras con los talibanes. Esto sería la tercera razón por la cual creo que Estados Unidos se retira de Afganistán.
But what happened that governmental forces withdraw very quickly in front of Taliban and they surrender and they give all the countries, about 34 provinces, to Taliban like a gift. So surrendering by governmental forces, not fighting Taliban by governmental forces as USA expected.
Pero ¿qué pasó? Que del momento en que los Estados Unidos se retiró de estos territorios, las talibanas se rindieron. Can you repeat the last part, please?
So what happened? They withdrew and 34 provinces has been captured.
Y
and ruled by
4
Taliban.
provincias han sido capturadas por los talibanes.
Also, United States of America believed that Taliban is capable to fight ISIS, Daesh.
Pero Estados Unidos piensa que las talibanas pueden pelear en Irán. Yes.
So, but
Entonces-
what happened that president of Afghanistan, of the government, flee, he he ran away from Afghanistan and he went to United Arab Emirates, here in the country which I live.
Retirarse del territorio Afganistán, huyendo de estos mismos conflictos que están sucediendo en el territorio.
And Taliban started to rule the country again as a second state of Taliban or second government of Taliban after 20 years of the American existence in
Nuevamente
Afghanistan.
llegaron al control del territorio. Después de una guerra de más de 20, 30 años, ellos nuevamente están en el poder.
I want to tell you here that Afghanistan sees, I mean Taliban sees that the American intervention is invading Afghanistan.
Quería también aclarar eso, que las talibanas mira a Estados Unidos como una invasión a su territorio. De esa fue su punto de vista durante todo este tiempo, como que ellos estaban invadiendo su territorio.
But USA does not see themselves invading Afghanistan. They believe they are intervening or involved in Afghanistan. That's why the doctrine is so-called liberal intervention. Can you hold on for 1 minute, please?
Como invasores, en base a lo que es... Se retiró. Retiro un segundo. Hello? Sí, fue que se retiró. Un segundo.
Sorry about that. I'm sorry. So, and Taliban try to show that they are changing their speech and they will change with women and they will not be violent as it's known about all Islamic movements.
Lo que la talibana también quiere anunciar es que su país es libre y que no será como lo anunciado, que irán a armas o mantendrán la violencia en su territorio.
And then Taliban declared Islamic Emirate in Afghanistan, like Iran, like Pakistan, like, like Islamic Republic of Pakistan, Islamic Republic of Iran.
Islámico en Afganistán.
And now there is some question. Why governmental forces withdraw very quickly from Afghanistan?
Y ahora nuevamente la pregunta, ¿por qué estas fuerzas se retiraron rápidamente de Afganistán?
I believe because of 3 reasons.
Yo creo que son por 3 razones.
Number 1,
Número 1,
because maybe corruption. Why?
por
The
mucho-
salaries of the fighters did not reach to their hands. I mean, the fighters, the forces, soldiers of the governmental forces did not receive all of the money they deserve from the government.
no estaban recibiendo todo el dinero merecido que necesitaban del gobierno.
So their loyalty decreased, maybe.
Entonces la moralidad decayó.
Second reason, I think that the Americans, trainers, coaches, and advisors, they were fed up. You know, they were like fed up of what's going on, and they knew since 2014 that they will withdraw. So I think training start to decrease the level of the professionalism of training, not like in the beginning in 2001.
Comparado con el principio, creo que el entrenamiento de estos soldados a lo largo del tiempo también la forma fue decayendo. Entonces no era la misma calidad.
Third reason, which is the most important reason, I think, that, and I knew it not from the media, I knew it from some decision makers from NATO, my close friends. They told me something.
Could you repeat that again, please?
Third reason, which is not declared in the media, but I knew it from some officials in NATO. They told me about it.
Porque me lo contaron.
Which is that the total amount of the forces of Afghani governmental forces against Taliban, they were 300,000 soldiers. 100,000 of them, that means 1/3 of them, were Shia, not Sunni. I mean, Shia and Sunni in Islam, they are different.
Could you repeat that again?
Yeah, I will tell you. I know it's difficult. I know that. That, that is the third and main reason why they withdraw. The amount of the forces, of the governmental forces who were fighting Taliban, the amount, the number were 300 forces. It was 300 soldiers. Okay?
Soldados.
Among this 300,000 soldiers, 100,000, 1/3 of all of them, they were from another Islamic sect. We have some sects in Islam like Sunni and Shia. They were Shiite.
Islámico.
And Shiite are more ruled by Iran. So Iran told this Shiite, which is 100,000 soldiers, don't fight Taliban.
Entonces, estos 1,000 soldados, aparte de estos 3,000, que eran parte de estos 3,000, no querían pelear y no peleaban en los estados islámicos.
So governmental forces cannot fight Taliban with 2/3 of the forces, with 200,000. They cannot do that, especially because a big crack now in the forces because of different sects.
Soldados, era imposible. Yes.
So, as I told you, American forces start to withdraw. Also, NATO started to withdraw. And during this withdrawal, you can say tens of thousands were withdrawing from different nationalities. Western and Arab and other nationalities start to withdraw.
Miles de millones de personas estaban retirando de estos territorios.
And some terrorist action has been done by Daesh in Kabul airport against American forces by Daesh. That was, I think, in 24th of August this year. During this time, I mean, during the withdrawal.
Durante estos tiempos se han retirado no solamente las fuerzas, sino diplomáticos y también turistas que estaban en estas regiones.
And this increased the displacement. Not only the foreigners who are living in Afghanistan, they start to displace or to withdraw, but also some Afghani people who were cooperating with the Western countries and other countries against Taliban, they start to flee, escape from Afghanistan.
No solo los militares, los políticos y turistas que estaban en estas áreas empezaron a irse del territorio de Afganistán. Can you repeat the last part, please?
You want me to repeat again?
Yes, the last part.
That you know, tens of thousands, several tens of thousands, start to withdraw. Not only American or NATO countries, but also Arabian and also Afghani who were cooperating with the West.
empezaron a huir de estos territorios con la retirada de las Fuerzas Armadas de Estados Unidos.
And you cannot imagine
No se
this
pueden
withdrawal, how much it was difficult.
lo difícil que es.
And I can give you example that the defense attaché of Belgium, he is my close friend, and he is working as defense attaché of Belgium to all Gulf Cooperation Council, to all 6 Gulf countries here. And he is working here in Abu Dhabi beside me.
Él estaba trabajando estaba en ese territorio, tuvo que huir y trabajar en Abu Dhabi conmigo.
He spent a lot of effort to support Belgian soldiers and Belgian civilians to withdraw of Afghanistan. And this effort, his efforts have been evaluated.
Muchos esfuerzos para ayudar a militares de Bélgica retirarse de estos territorios.
That Belgium rewarded him with exceptional promotion from lieutenant colonel to full colonel, although he was outside the country, which is seldom or never happened to be promoted to a higher rank. But he is promoted to full colonel because of his efforts in Afghanistan.
Algo que nunca había sucedido anteriormente, por brindar esta ayuda indispensable.
Okay, let's go to the National Security Council in the United Nations. They started, to talk to Taliban and to tell them that you have to respect the resolutions of the Security Council for humanity and don't do anything against people who were fighting you.
De la unidad que debería de existir.
And they asked Taliban to respect the resolutions of the United Nations.
Can you repeat that, please?
United Nations Security Council asked Taliban to respect its resolutions. Okay?
Yeah, the last part.
Okay, and wait for me until I finish. Wait for me and then you hear me. I'm saying that United Nations Security Council asked Taliban to respect its decisions and resolutions in Afghanistan.
Okay, las Naciones Unidas y el Comité de Seguridad pidió a las talibanas que por favor respetaran sus decisiones, sobre todo lo que se estaba hablando dentro del mismo comité.
And Taliban promised to obey their orders and decisions, resolutions.
Respetar todas estas decisiones. Yes.
And also Taliban started to communicate with the regional community, countries around us, try to recognize its leadership in Afghanistan.
Y también la talibana comenzó a tratar de relacionarse más con los otros países y no crear tantos conflictos.
And then Taliban government, new government of Taliban declared freedom or liberty of Taliban from USA and the West. As I told you, they believe
la Talibán decidió liberar o declararse libre y en paz después de aceptar estas decisiones.
And they started to say, to ask their people, Taliban started to ask their people to be patient and wait, and everything will be good.
Decir a las personas que tuvieran paciencia. Yes.
Taliban was sure that all countries around it is afraid of Taliban because they are known that they are violent, and they believe that maybe terrorism will return to Afghanistan again.
La Talibana está segura de que todos los países a su alrededor le tienen temor y tienen miedo de que vuelvan a crear más terrorismo o más conflicto.
But Taliban depended on some specific issue that it's against ISIS, against Daesh, which is enemy of all over the world. So Taliban fights ISIS. That means Taliban says, I am with you. I am not with terrorists. I am with the international community. I'm against terrorism like you.
Y la Talibana quiere aclarar también que está con la comunidad internacional, que su guerra es contra ISIS y que forma parte de la comunidad internacional.
Okay, and Taliban promised that it will never have any future relation with terrorist groups.
Y la talibana promete que nunca tendrá, can you repeat the last part? Future relations with who?
Taliban will never have any relations with any terrorist group.
Y que la talibana nunca tendrá ninguna relación con grupos terroristas. Esto es lo que ellos exaltan.
But India was afraid. Why? They are against Taliban. Pakistan supports Taliban, India against Taliban in Afghanistan. So India was afraid. But the problem with Taliban is not ISIS, it's not Daesh, because they are against Daesh. The problem is Al-Qaeda.
Dicen que el problema no es la talibana, sino que el problema o los grupos terroristas, sino que Al-Qaeda.
Because Al-Qaeda is generated from Taliban, as I told you. And
Porque-
Al-Qaeda is fighting Daesh also. They are against ISIS.
Porque Al-Qaeda proviene de estos conflictos entre las talibanas.
But Taliban promised they will not support Al-Qaeda.
Pero ellos aseguran que no van a apoyar a Al-Qaeda.
Now let me talk about regional and international neighboring countries.
Ahora déjenme hablar de las relaciones internacionales. Que esto
Let's
puede-
talk first about China, India, and Pakistan.
Primero hablemos de China, Rusia y Pakistán.
Pakistan. You know that there is historical enmity between China and India. They are against each other.
Ahora entenderemos el roce entre Rusia, which countries again?
India, India.
Okay, entre China y India. Ajá. Yes.
But China is a very good ally to Pakistan, and Pakistan is enemy of India.
Pero China es un aliado muy bueno para Pakistán.
Also, Taliban supports the Uyghur. Uyghur are the Muslim tribe inside China, and China is not happy with that.
Can you repeat that again, please?
There is Uyghur. Uyghur is like tribe or some province, mostly Muslims,
Todo mundo
and inside China. Taliban support them against China.
en China y las talibanas soportan a China.
No, no, no. Again, Taliban supports Muslim province inside China.
Las talibanas soportan nuevos territorios dentro de lo que es China.
Which is Uyghur, this word. Yeah, Uyghur.
Que
It's
es
the name of this
Uyghur.
Islamic people.
Okay, Uyghur.
Uyghur, okay? And they are Muslims, as I told you.
Ujú.
At the same time, so this is from regional. In the
Entonces,
same
todo es
time,
regional. Ujú.
yeah. In the same time, do you remember when I told you that Americans were fighting Soviet Union in 1979 in proxy war,
¿Recuerdan
right?
cuando les conté que estaban peleando China y la Unión Soviética en el año 1971?
1979 and early 80. So what happens that China was not happy with existence of both USA and Soviet Union. So China was not happy with Russia to be existed in Afghanistan.
No estaba feliz con Rusia o la existencia de la Unión Soviética o la presencia de este en Afganistán.
Today, China also is not happy with existence of Russia in Afghanistan, but the difference that China needs Russia inside Afghanistan.
Hasta el momento, China igual no está feliz con la presencia de Rusia en Afganistán, pero el conflicto es que China necesita la presencia de Rusia en Afganistán.
That's why there is something like cooperation, partnership between China and Russia against USA all over the world. China and Russia compete USA in Latin America, as I came and explained to you in 2019.
Rusia y China compiten contra Estados Unidos. Entonces ellos tuvieron que crear una alianza para competir contra lo que es Estados Unidos.
And also China and Russia together, they are competing USA in Middle East, in East Asia, and everywhere all over the world.
Ellos están compitiendo en todas partes del mundo, en el Medio Oriente, lo que son China y Rusia, contra lo que es Estados Unidos.
The reason is Russia is enemy of USA, China is competitor and almost enemy of USA, so China and Russia must be friends.
La razón de esto es que China es enemigo de Estados Unidos y Rusia también es enemigo de Estados Unidos. Entonces no tuvieron ninguna otra opción más que aliarse contra un enemigo común.
Also, China and Russia needs each other.
Se necesitan uno al otro. Yes.
China needs experience of Russia, security and, you know, involvement, their previous and historical intervention in the Middle East. So they need Russia inside the Middle East, and they need their experience, security experience in the Middle East.
Necesitan, lo que China necesita la experiencia en lo que es el área de seguridad que tiene Rusia, especialmente en lo que es el Medio Oriente. Necesitan esta experiencia que ya tiene.
And Russia needs economy, money of China. They need their money because they are very weak in economy.
El dinero, lo que es la economía de China.
Okay.
Yes.
Then next, let me talk again about Taliban. Do you remember, as I told you, in 1979 and early 1980, that there was proxy war between Taliban and its protester or opponent or resistance, you know, Afghani like them.
De las talibanas y como siempre había una resistencia contra estas.
And this resistance against Taliban, they are in some province in Afghanistan, so-called Panjshir.
Y estas resistencias que se encuentran en Afganistán.
And Taliban attacked Panjshir as the last province, number 34, and they declared that they defeated their resistance.
Okay, estas resistencias existen en lo que es Panjshir, en esa área específicamente.
That was in September, 7 September this year.
Existen desde septiembre 7.
And then, but in the same time,
Pero al mismo tiempo,
the resistance in Panjshir started to accuse Taliban.
La resistencia en Panjshir empezó a resistir lo que es la talibana.
That they are doing several bad things against human rights, killing people in Panjshir, to tell that to the United Nations, that Taliban does not respect the United Nations resolutions, which I told you earlier.
Pero las talibanas están cometiendo muchos delitos contra lo que son los derechos humanos.
And the resistance in Panjshir also declared that they could take captives from Taliban as 600, and they said 600, they killed 600, and they captured 1,000 captive or prisoner of war from Taliban. They declared so.
Okay. El colapso de estos territorios. Can you go back? Can you repeat the last part, please?
Okay. Yeah, I say that Taliban. I say that the resistance in Panjshir declared that they could kill 600 persons from Taliban, 600 soldiers, and they could arrest 1,000 prisoners of war from Taliban.
Que tenían 1,000 soldados y que podían tener también 1,000 cautivos de guerra también durante este tiempo.
Also, Pakistan is involved in Afghanistan, and there are some media saying that Afghanistan intelligence is very, very involving in Afghanistan, and I think so. I was studying my second staff course in Pakistan, in Quetta, in Balochistan, and which is bordering Afghanistan, and I can understand how much Pakistani intelligence and security are very close and intervening in Afghanistan and Taliban.
Durante todo el tiempo que estuve ahí, no puedo comprender todos estos conflictos que estuvieron sucediendo en estos territorios.
If I talk about Iran after Pakistan, I can say the next.
Irán después de Pakistán.
See here in this map, Iran is here. This is
Mapa.
Iran.
Tenemos a Irán,
This is China,
China,
and this is Afghanistan.
y ese es,
This is Pakistan. I'm sorry. This is Pakistan,
eso es Pakistán.
right? And as you see that Afghanistan also is in the middle between, it's bordering here.
Como pueden ver, está intermedio de ahí.
So what is the point here? That Iran would like to have influence inside Afghanistan.
El punto aquí es que Irán estaba tratando de tener influencia en Afganistán.
Why? Iran in its constitution, its official constitution,
Porque
they
el
believe
oficial,
they believe of exporting Islamic revolutions.
porque
So the
creen
yeah.
en expandir la religión islámica. Revolución
And that's why they consider Islamic revolution in Afghanistan by Taliban against the government is a big part of the constitution of Iran. So they support Taliban for this reason, because anybody against USA is a friend of Iran.
Esa fue una de las principales razones por las cuales se creó la talibana, dado al que querían expandir lo que era su religión, que estaba bien marcado en lo que era su constitución. Esto fue lo que llevó a la creación de las talibanas y a eso es querer expandirse.
That's why I believe big cooperation between China, Pakistan, and Iran, even with Russia, okay, inside Afghanistan.
Por eso hubo una necesidad de la alianza de China, Irán, Pakistán y también Rusia en Afganistán.
And Iran is happy that Taliban is separated from the terrorist group, any terrorist group.
Irán está contenta de que las talibanas se está alejando ahora de lo que son los grupos terroristas.
I will pass over this one.
Pasaré a esto.
Now let's go to India again, which is enemy of China, which is enemy of Taliban or don't recognize Taliban.
Ahora hablaremos de India y Pakistán en Afganistán. Y este es el primer ministro Narendra Modi.
So Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi,
El primer ministro de India,
Taliban is terrorist.
dice que las talibanas son terroristas.
And he said that as a policy of state, terrorism should not be a policy of state. Terrorism shouldn't be a policy of state.
Y él dice que los terroristas como política de Estado debería ser rechazada.
And any state like Pakistan, Iran, or Afghanistan who depends on terrorists, as he says, they will lose in the end. He said so in the United Nations People Assembly or something like that, People Assembly in his speech.
Bueno, el primer ministro Narendra Modi aclaró esto o resaltó esto durante su discurso en este tiempo, diciendo que el mundo debería de prever cualquier país de usar el territorio, la tierra de Afganistán para esparcir lo que es el terrorismo de una religión.
And Mr. Modi, also Prime Minister of India, he urged Afghanistan not to use any violence or not to depend on any terrorist group.
También aclaró de que, también dijo durante esta conferencia que Afganistán no debería de esparcir lo que es el terrorismo ni llevar a lo que es el uso de armas para esparcir lo que es una religión.
So it can show to you that Prime Minister of India sees that Taliban is supporting terrorism, right?
Entonces podemos ver que el primer ministro de India está claro de que la talibana está apoyando a lo que es el terrorismo.
But when we see the Prime Minister of Pakistan, he
Pero
is
cuando
different.
esto de Pakistán,
Different. He believes that Taliban are heroes and Mujahideen in Taliban are heroes or champions.
él cree que los talibanes son héroes.
And USA recognized them before and invited them in the White House. So we have to recognize them.
Y el presidente Ronald Reagan los invitó a la Casa Blanca. Osama no fue mencionado.
Yeah, he didn't mention the name of Osama bin Laden. Why? Because Osama bin Laden was known as a terrorist against the United States.
Y no mencionaron el nombre de Osama, dado que él era conocido como un terrorista por los Estados Unidos.
This is what Mr. Imran Khan, Prime Minister of Pakistan, believes or what he said.
Pero el señor Osama cree en lo que él dice.
Let me now go to what expected from China in Afghanistan.
Ahora vamos a hablar de lo que es esperado de la participación de China en lo que es Afganistán.
I think why China is involved in Afghanistan. They will be involved with humanitarian and economic. But I don't think that yeah.
En lo que es Afganistán.
I don't think they will be involved militarily. China does not want to use its military forces anywhere.
China, no creo que suceda. China nunca ha querido desplazar lo que son sus fuerzas militares a ningún otro país.
So they will try to manage all the requirements and needs by Afghani people to help them.
Pero quiere contribuir dándole a lo que es la gente de Afganistán lo que necesitan para ayudarlos.
Because China needs Afghanistan for several reasons. Number one,
porque China ocupa Afganistán por 3 razones. Número 1.
Afghanistan is bordering China, 60 kilometers borders between them, and this could be a source of terrorism.
Porque sus fronteras están muy cercas.
Second, that they need Afghanistan in Chinese initiative, Belt and Road.
Can you repeat that again, please?
Second reason that China needs Afghanistan in its initiative, because in its belt, Belt and Road.
Afghanistan and
Belt and Road Initiative, Chinese initiative, Belt and Road.
Yes.
It's a global initiative for economic reason, and Afghanistan is
por
in the middle.
razones económicas. Lo necesita por razones económicas.
Okay. Third reason that Afghanistan is a theater of Western intervention and Russian intervention, and China cannot stop and wait like before. China must act, maybe politically, diplomatically, economically, but not militarily.
Porque porque China necesita actuar de alguna manera, dado que también es al lado de Rusia, necesita actuar en Afganistán de alguna manera económicamente, pero no militarmente.
Second expected point or expected action by China, they will do as they do in Venezuela, that to collect data and information about people to make, this is like national ID for the people using the American biometrics which they left in Afghanistan.
Los chinos harán como hacen en Venezuela. Ellos recaudarán información igual de la misma manera usando los mismos medios que usaron en Venezuela para su beneficio.
And also China will try to support to manage the resources of Afghanistan to help Afghani people and also to exploit these resources. or
ayudar
get benefits from it.
a Afganistán de la manera que pueda para luego poder también utilizar sus recursos para su conveniencia.
Also, I think that China will support Afghani people to confront COVID-19 by their vaccine and others.
Can you repeat that again, please?
Yeah, China will help Afghani people with the Sinopharm vaccine against COVID-19.
Los chinos también ayudarán a lo que es Afganistán a combatir lo que es el coronavirus,
This
promoviendo
is my expectation, by the way. It's not information. It's my expectation. What I say is my expectation.
Esa es mi expectativa. No es algo que está sucediendo en el momento, pero es mi expectativa, lo que pienso que va a suceder. Yes.
One thing which is very important, China maybe will do, and this is the difference in this thing, the difference between China and USA when they deal with the threats.
Esta es la diferencia entre China y Estados Unidos al momento de brindar estas ayudas.
USA, when they protect its allies dealing with the threats, they fight the threat. Like they fight terrorism. They were almost going to fight Iran, right? Which are threat of its allies and threat to Israel, threat to Arab, threat to USA, right? They were fighting the threats. The USA is doing that.
Los Estados Unidos lo que hace es pelear contra la amenaza.
But China is doing something else. They deal with the threats. They deal with Iran. They deal with Taliban
Lo que
to
hace
avoid the threats.
con los posibles peligros para poder evitar estos en el futuro. Es la diferencia entre China y Estados Unidos.
So China deal with the threat to avoid it from away from its allies and from itself, but not to fight the threats.
Pero para no pelear con ellos en el futuro.
And there are two main threats inside Afghanistan. Two main threats.
Y hay dos potenciales peligros hacia China.
Number one, violence, extreme violence,
Violencia extrema.
and terrorism for sure.
Ujú.
Number two is drugs. Drugs. You know, drugs.
What was that?
Drugs. You know, drugs. Yeah, like marijuana, like.
Drugs.
Yeah, this is the second threat in Afghanistan.
Las drogas.
Okay. So China will help in that, not to fight, but to avoid.
Entonces China buscará no pelear, sino que evitar.
I think China will start to establish a group of regional cooperation
Entonces
inside of Afghanistan.
empezará a establecer unos grupos en Afganistán para pelear. Como
Such as maybe Emirates, Turkey, maybe also Israel.
también tal vez en Israel. Ujú.
In addition to Iran and Pakistan, its own allies.
En conjunto con Rusia por las alianzas que tienen.
But why China is doing that? It's not to make like only cooperation, but China, its main goal to take the allies of United States to be its Chinese allies, like Iran, like Turkey, like Israel. China always seek to do that.
Pero ¿por qué haría esto China? China haría esto para ganar sobre lo que es los Estados Unidos, para tener una ventaja y quedar como el héroe en cierta situación.
And if USA cooperate with its allies to fight the enemies, China cooperate with its allies to deal with the enemies and not to try to maintain stability in peaceful way. And this is the way of Chinese, which we call it soft approach.
Si China se involucra, los Estados Unidos tratará de mantener la paz, China con sus aliados, Estados Unidos con sus aliados, para no crear más conflictos en este territorio. Eso es lo que involucraría lo que es la involucración de China en lo que es Afganistán junto con sus aliados.
Last point, that China, I think, will try to make what we call it in the United Nations. When I was working in the United Nations, some colleagues are here, maybe working in the United Nations, which is DDR, disarmament, demobilization, reintegration.
China, junto con lo que es las Naciones Unidas, apoyará lo que es el crecimiento y el establecimiento de lo que es la paz en esta región.
Disarmament, demobilization, reintegration, DDR, disarmament, demobilization, reintegration.
Lo que él llama reintegración, and
Disarmament, demobilization, reintegration.
De esta área también.
And this to try to make the Afghani community and Afghani tribes get together in peaceful way.
Y esto haría de que las tribus de Afganistán, estas regiones, se junten pacíficamente.
Remember that Afghanistan is a part of the Chinese backyard.
Recuerden que Afganistán es parte de la. Can you repeat the last part? It's part of
Backyard. Like Chinese neighbor. Yeah.
De China, sí.
So China must be careful always to make it stable, no conflicts, no violence.
Entonces China siempre busca la estabilidad, sin violencia, sin conflictos.
Now I talk about 1 hour as I promised, and I hope that you like it. I hope it was clear, and I'm ready for any questions. Thank you so much.
Bueno, esto sería todo. Espero les haya gustado el tema y si tienen algunas preguntas, en este momento las pueden realizar.
Muchísimas gracias, mi general. Tenemos espacio para 5 preguntas.
There will be space for 5 questions.
Los que están conectados, ¿tienen preguntas?
Was it clear to everybody? I hope so.
Yes. They're giving the microphone right now. Okay.
¿La pregunta usted?
¿Puede dar?
Okay. Buenos días, general.
Good morning, General.
Good morning.
Soy el coronel Manrique Ordóñez Castillo, secretario general de la Universidad de Defensa de Honduras.
I am General, ¿su nombre? Por favor.
Manrique Ordóñez Castillo,
Ordóñez Castillo,
secretario general
General Secretary
de la Universidad de
of
Defensa de
the
Honduras.
University of Defense of Honduras.
Oh, hello, Colonel. Thank you.
Gracias por su conferencia, gracias por compartir sus conocimientos en relación a la situación de Afganistán.
Thank you for the conference. Thank you for showing us your point of view of the conflicts that happen in Afghanistan and what is going on at the moment.
Thank
En
you.
relación a eso tengo 2 interrogantes.
In relation to that, I have 2 interrogatives.
What? Question of what?
Dos.
Sorry?
2 questions, 2
Yeah, 2
interrogatives.
questions. Okay.
La primera es, ¿cuál es la situación actual ante los organismos internacionales, el gobierno de Afganistán, partiendo que no ha tomado el poder por la vía democrática, que es lo que las Naciones Unidas promueve alrededor del mundo?
What is the United Nations or the world nations point of view in relation to Afghanistan not taking a more political
vía democrática.
a more diplomatic road to solving this issue in Afghanistan.
Okay, second one, please.
Can you repeat
La segunda.
the second?
La segunda pregunta es, atendiendo la universalidad de los derechos humanos,
Understanding the universality,
human rights,
Human rights. Okay. You mean
Okay.
human rights?
yes,
Sorry. Yeah.
how it's something universal.
Yeah, universal human rights, you mean?
Yes, exactly.
¿cuál es el nivel de participación de los diferentes organismos de derechos humanos a nivel mundial en la situación actual de la población en Afganistán?
¿Cuál es el nivel de participación? What is the
El
level
nivel
of
de
participation?
participación de los organismos de derechos humanos a nivel mundial
Of,
en la situación actual de las personas en Afganistán.
what is the level of participation of the international organizations of human rights in what is at Afghanistan on these issues?
Okay. To be honest, I don't know how much level they participated. But what I am sure that there are big UN offices inside Afghanistan, like Organization for Refugees, UNCHR, also for human rights. They are there. But I agree with the colonel when he said that we don't notice the role much. Why? Because I think because of the intervention of NATO by force and by United States, it was more clear. Maybe in the coming future, that United Nations will have to participate more to confirm that Afghanistan or Taliban, exactly, the new government or the second state or the second government of Afghanistan respect the human rights and respect the United Nations resolutions. But in this case, remember, first of all, we have to make sure that Afghanistan does not respect the United Nations Security Council resolutions. But they promise that they will do that.
Okay.
But people don't trust. Yeah.
Dice que específicamente no está seguro de la participación que tienen las organizaciones de derechos humanos en lo que es Afganistán, pero que sí sabe que existen mínimo unas 3 organizaciones que se ligan a lo que son los derechos humanos para tratar de proteger estos mismos. Can you repeat the last part, please?
You ask me? You ask me?
I talked to him about the in Afghanistan, the human rights and all that, but
Afghanistan must prove that they will respect their promises for women empowerment or women liberty.
Pero lo que sí tiene conocimiento es que en base a lo que es el Comité de Seguridad y las Naciones Unidas, Afganistán sí ha prometido proteger lo que son estos derechos humanos hasta los momentos. Eso es lo que han prometido.
And also they have to prove, Taliban, they have to prove that they will not be against human rights. They will not kill their opponents, like the people who supported the Western, like translators. But Taliban did something, I can tell you. Number one, they promised to give more freedom to the women, but at the same time,
libertad a la que son las mujeres en lo que es Afganistán. Yes.
But in the same time, they did not do that.
Pero al mismo
they did not do that. They did not do their promise. Like they did not send them to school or to universities as they promised.
Pero no los enviaron a la escuela.
And they promised that they will not use violence against people who supported Americans and Western, but they started now to recall them for investigations.
También prometieron a no atacar a ciudadanos o personas que estén apoyando a lo que son los Estados Unidos, pero comenzaron a retenerlos para realizar investigaciones y hacerles preguntas.
Also, United Nations interfere when it's interfere or intervene. Some things must happen, like consent or acceptance by Afghanistan if they send peacekeeping observers, for example, but they don't need that because they are not fighting each other now. It's only something like ruling Afghanistan by Taliban, which is known as violent government.
Las Naciones Unidas decide o piensa que no debe involucrarse más allá sobre lo que es Afganistán, dado que ellos se consideran ahora un gobierno violento, algo en lo que ellos no se deberían de involucrar.
And remember something very important.
Y recuerdo algo muy importante.
Usually UN supports freedom, democracy, and human rights, correct?
Estados Unidos por lo general apoya lo que es la libertad, los derechos y la democracia.
And China, they believe that this is the Western democratic way or democratic Western way.
Y China piensa que la democracia de Estados Unidos, de esa región.
So China is a big member in the Security Council. I don't know what they will do if the United Nations try to intervene within this frame.
Y China es un miembro activo de lo que es el Comité de Seguridad y no sabe qué pasará si las Naciones Unidas deciden involucrarse en lo que es este conflicto en Afganistán.
That's it from my side.
Y eso sería todo de esa pregunta.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias. I have another question here. They're asking, what awaits the people of Afghanistan? Do you consider that the Taliban can work on their own?
Can what? You mean that I think, do I think the Taliban can rule the country alone?
Yes.
It's very difficult. It's a big question, by the way, and it's discussed by a very high level. But what I am sure about, it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. Why? Afghanistan,
muy difícil que los talibanes pudieran gobernar por su cuenta todo lo que es el estado de Afganistán. Yes.
Afghanistan is a failed state.
Porque Afganistán es un estado fallido.
And failed state has 4 characteristics.
Y los estados fallidos tienen 4 características.
Number 1.
Uno.
Monopoly of force. There's only one forces in the country, not several forces against each other.
No diferentes fuerzas, sino que una fuerza en específica. Yes.
Number 2, supremacy of the security and the country everywhere, that the country is ruling everywhere, the government must be ruling.
Está ejerciendo su poder.
Supremacy of everywhere in the country.
Okay. Yes. I translate, yes.
I repeat, you mean?
Yes, I translated it.
Okay. Third is maintaining all required and basic services to the people, like electricity, like water, like telephones, like health.
Todas las energías primordiales para la sociedad, lo que es servicio de agua, servicio de luz para toda la población en general.
Number 4 is legitimacy of the government at the international level.
Y por último, la legitimación de lo que es el gobierno a nivel internacional.
So, if I go to characteristic or the element number 4, European Union or European countries, China, Turkey, Emirates, Qatar, Pakistan, started to recognize, or they think to recognize Taliban and to put hand in hand with Taliban and to give them legitimacy.
Todos esos países que he mencionado, si se unen lo que son Rusia, Pakistán, todos esos países que él mencionó, si ellos se pueden unir y ayudar a Afganistán a cumplir con esos 4 puntos que les he mencionado, tal vez habría una posibilidad de unificación en lo que es Afganistán.
I don't think that Taliban is capable economically to maintain services all over the country.
esté mal económicamente, que no podría hacer esto hasta cierto punto.
That's why I expected China and other countries will help in that.
Entonces sí, pero sí esperamos que como no pueden satisfacer económicamente estas necesidades, sí pedirían ayuda a lo que es China y Rusia para cumplir con ellas.
Number three, that I don't think the forces of Taliban is capable to rule all the country and protect it with security. I don't think so. They are not enough.
Al punto 3 que mencioné, no pienso que la talibana tenga la capacidad de brindar lo que es seguridad a todo el territorio de Afganistán.
So I think they will need some assistance somehow, maybe technologically by somebody, or maybe even by
Entonces,
any allied country. I don't know what they will do exactly.
pienso que necesitarán ayuda, por ejemplo, de Turquía para brindar lo que es la seguridad a todo su territorio.
Number four, if any resistance appear again in Afghanistan, like in Banjir, so there will not be any mobility of using force. This will make the state very failed.
Y otro, en base al cuarto punto que mencioné, lo que es el gobierno, que no vuelva a haber que no vuelva a existir el mismo conflicto nuevamente, que las personas no vuelvan a crear lo que es más conflicto en base a lo que es armas para derrocar lo que es el gobierno que se está implementando.
And the main problem with Taliban that they don't have the true capability of ruling the country
Y el,
because they are only good in fighting from mountains.
y el problema más
And-
grande de la talibana es que no tienen el poder suficiente para ejercer su poder dentro de todo lo que es Afganistán, para poder mantener el control.
And first government of Taliban before 20 years ago, they did not succeed.
La talibana intentó esto hace 20 años y no lo pudo lograr.
That's it from my side. Thank you.
Eso sería todo. In the chat, I think you can see a few questions. I don't know if you have the time to see it. They're looking at the questions on the chat right now. This measure. Sí, no, lo siento. It says in the chat a question. Is measurable the impact within Latin America, referring to the crisis within Afghanistan? I think what they're trying to ask here, how does that impact Latin America, all the issues going on in Afghanistan? And how it's measurable, the impact that it has in Latin America?
I don't understand. I'm sorry. Can you tell me again? What is the question?
Si la pregunta no está muy clara, dice, if you can measure the impact within Latin America, referring to the cities within Afghanistan.
I don't know, to be honest, I don't know, but it's not like that. I mean, it's more the impact of, Middle East more, and maybe East Asia, not East Asia, I'm sorry, Central Asia, and it may also affect Europe because of immigration. So the only impact on Latin America may be some immigration from the Middle East in total and Afghanistan, because some people they like to travel to Latin America. Some countries open the countries to them.
Dice que no está muy seguro.
But I'm not sure that it will be big impact on Latin America this time.
Tal vez puede afectar un poco lo que es la inmigración, en base de que muchas de las personas que están huyendo de las talibanas y demás salen de su país y pueden llegar hasta Latinoamérica.
Only if Latin America is importing very serious goods from Middle East, it could be affected because the instability, and which may increase the instability in the region. Like if you take oil from our region or any other, so maybe it will be affected somehow.
Stability in what? Oil? Excuse me.
If you import oil from our region, for example, or anything, I mean, instability, it will be more in the Middle East.
En lo que es el gas, la gasolina, sí puede verse afectado lo que es nuestro país, debido a los conflictos que también afectarían lo que es ese rubro de negocio. Entonces los precios podrían también variar aquí. En lo que
But I promise to study the impact of what's going on in Afghanistan and its impact on Latin America. I promise to study it.
que promete para la próxima estudiar específicamente no solo el impacto en Afganistán, sino el impacto que los problemas de Afganistán puede tener en Latinoamérica. Yes. They have another question, I think. Well, I think we don't have any more questions, but the General Secretary of the university would like to say something. General Sayed.
Yes.
Yes.
En nombre del señor rector de la Universidad de Defensa de Honduras,
In the name of the rector of the University of Defense of Honduras,
mi coronel de aviación, diplomado de Estado Mayor, don Juan Carlos González Molina.
¿puedes repetir?
Mi coronel de aviación, Juan
eh,
Carlos González Molina.
Colonel of Aviation, Carlos González.
I know him very well, yeah,
Yeah,
my
yes.
friend.
You know him.
Yes.
Queremos agradecerle infinitamente por este aporte tan importante para incrementar el conocimiento de la situación de Afganistán a nuestros participantes.
We would like to give you an infinite thank you for sharing
Thank you so much.
this information with us.
Thank you.
En mi caso particular,
In
he
my-
aprendido mucho de todo lo que usted ha relatado, desde el conflicto previo hasta la retirada de las tropas de los Estados Unidos.
For me personally, I think that I have learned from the beginning how it was Afghanistan was created, all the conflicts that have been happening to the point to where the United States decided to leave what is Afghanistan at the moment. I've learned a lot.
Ahora estoy seguro que todos tenemos un conocimiento más amplio de la situación actual y quedamos entonces en espera de que en otra ocasión pueda compartir con nosotros ese amplio conocimiento que tiene usted de esa zona.
We have gained much knowledge from you about this topic, and we thank you very much. And we hope to see you next time for a new conference on a new topic. And we were really delighted to have you here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gracias,
Thank you so much.
bendiciones y éxitos.
Thank you, blessings, and that would be all from our Secretary General. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Just I would like to thank you so much. Thank you for everybody. I'm very happy with these big attendees, students and staff of National Defense University of Honduras. I really like all of you. Really, I like, and I promise that I will come, I think next year, early next year, maybe February, March, April. I will be very happy also if we succeed together translating my book, Fingers Are on the Triggers. We'll be very happy to be translated in Spanish, and hope to meet again in Honduras, in Tegucigalpa next year. Thank you so much.
Es un placer estar con todos los estudiantes, los miembros de la universidad, los empleados, con todo el mundo, y que le encantaría que lo invitaran el próximo año, a mediados de marzo, si es posible, para otra vez nuevamente dar otra conferencia en la universidad. Pero que fue un gran placer y que sí le encantaría visitar Honduras, Tegucigalpa y estar presencial con todos nosotros.
Tell them I like you, all of you very much, please. Tell all of them I like you very much.
Le agradamos mucho, nos dice, y
Yeah.
te encantaría, sí, le encantaría venir. And everybody here says you are welcome to come anytime you want to give
Thank
a
you so much. Thank you.
conference,
Thank
and
you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.